What's up everybody? Today I wanted to make a quick video about Venti because there have been rumors about him returning in 1.4 with the March Flower Festival that's coming to Genshin Impact, and I think it's a good time to talk about him because he was the first 5-star unit that we had in the game, and after that he hasn't been around. They didn't add him to the standard banner or anything, and a lot of people that came into the game past his banner were really upset that they didn't get him because they realized how strong he was and they were just in anguish. They were so upset. So it's really cool to see some rumors coming through like this because I think he's an amazing unit to bring back. I was one of the fortunate ones to start with the game, and I have Venti at C1, and I think he's an incredible unit, and I feel like he's worth mentioning and talking about and why he's so important because right now we have a ton of units that have been introduced to the game since the launch. I think it's important that we talk about why he is still a valuable asset to have in your lineup. From a base stat standpoint, he's not that impressive. His base attack is pretty good, but his energy recharge is really what is a shining gem here. Energy recharge percentage is a really nice passive stat to have, and 32% is no joke. So this actually really helps with him getting his abilities back and makes him easier to build because with this and an energy recharge artifact, he's able to pretty much handle energy recharge by itself to have his skills up and his burst up on rotation when you need it. From a normal attack standpoint, there's nothing too special. The nice thing is if you do need to affect an enemy with swirl, you can do a charged attack. And when you have his Constellation 1, it'll actually turn into a strafe shot. Then we have Skyward Sonnet, which it creates an AoE swirl wind tunnel that launches opponents into the air and then they fall down slowly, whether you press or hold this mechanic. Beautiful thing is how much damage it does. At the highest level, you can get 655% damage on press and 902% damage on hold. And the cooldown's not even that high. 6 seconds on press, 15 seconds on hold. 900% though. Like, that's insane. Past that point, we have Wind's Grand Ode, which is his burst ability, which is absolutely nuts. He shoots an arrow, causes all the enemies to suck in, does like 18 damage over times or dots, and then if it absorbs with another element, it includes that in the damage over time, which is just nuts. Now, the damage may not seem like a lot, but when you have to factor in 18 different damage, if you do, 44% times 20, I don't do math right now, so that's going to be a lot of damage. How about that? 60 energy cost. Cooldown's only 15 seconds, the duration of it is 8 seconds, so there's only a 7-second time in between being able to rotate this. For his passive talents, he actually decreases stamina when gliding, which makes sense. He puts you in the air. Holding Skyward Sonnet, which is a skill, creates an upward current for 20 seconds. So when you use this skill, you can ride the current again, use a plunging attack. I don't know very many characters that need plunging attack over and over and over again, do you? Then we have Storm Eye, which regenerates 15 energy for Venti after the effects of Wind's Grand Ode ends. So this is the best part of his entire kit, in my opinion. He is going to basically get 25% of his burst back immediately when it's over. Top of that, if it absorbs with an element, let's say you have, 2 electro characters in your team, like Razor and Fischl. If it absorbs electro, they are also both going to get 15 energy back as well as him, which is nuts. I want to say Razor's is 80, so you're getting almost 25% of what he needs, and then Fischl's, I believe, is also 60. So you basically got a third of what she needs just by Venti doing his thing. Now I think it's important that we do talk about constellations with 5 stars because if we do have a returning banner, the likelihood that somebody has more than a C0 character could happen. And I think it's important that we talk about that because people are making decisions about what units they really like and want to invest in long term rather than just going for the new units that are coming out. The first thing allows him is C1 basically gives him that strafe shot that I was talking about previously. C2 allows for when he uses his skill ability and launches everybody in the air. There's an animo and physical resistance drop of 12% for 10 seconds, but as they're staying in the air, it is actually doubled to 24%. So if you use his skill ability, go up in the air, drop down, use his burst to keep them in the air, that 10 seconds will be for 24%, which is how you would want to use him in this case. This is also extremely beneficial for Skyward Harp as a weapon because you have a 60% chance of being able to do physical damage AoE at 125% of the attack. His C4, when Venti picks up an elemental orb or particle, he receives a 25% animo damage bonus. Basically, this is another reason why you would want to use his skill before the burst. That way you get his C2 buff and then you get the C4 buff going into the burst ability. And then Storm of Defiance. For whoever is lucky or rich enough to get this, very jealous of you. Because targets who take damage from this basically get Viridescent Venerer effects of 20% reduction to that element for Animo and the elemental absorption. All of his constellations are useful. I'd say C1's not as useful unless you absolutely needed it. As for weapons, most of the 4-star and 5-star options are going to work with him. Some of the most notable, though, I would say, is the Stringless, because obviously his damage does a crap ton of damage. Alley Hunter, which isn't available in the game currently, but it increases his crit rate as a passive. You've got an attack boost and a crit damage boost that stacks as long as you're on the field not taking damage to that specific character, which, since he has crowd control, most characters or enemies are going to be able to touch him. Sacrificial Bow or Favonius Warbow, you can also check out if you're trying to maximize the amount of damage he's doing from his skills, but realistically you shouldn't need energy recharge, so Skyward Harp is kind of the goal. As for artifacts for Venti, you're going to want to go with the Viridescent Venerer because he's a support Animo character, and that's pretty much what we've labeled to be that type of unit's artifact set. So you're going to have energy recharge, Animo damage percentage increase, and attack percentage for the scaling of his abilities. Then finally, taking a look at the party setup, how I plan to use Venti moving forward is with Xiao and Jingqi and Qiqi. My plan is to try and test that for myself, since I do have Qiqi at C3 and Jingqi as C2 and Venti at C1. My goal is to try and basically try to make this work to some degree and mess around with different weapons builds to make it possible. So how I currently use Venti now is I actually use him with Chongyun, Jingqi, Diona, and Venti, and it works extremely well. I love this team. It's fantastic. I made a video on it if you guys want to check it out. I'll link it above and in the description if you want to check it out. A really great team. It's probably the only one that I've been able to find where I wasn't frustrated at Chongyun, because I was for a long time, and this one actually was a really exciting find. So he can utilize Viridescent Venerer. He's the only unit that basically has the potential to have Viridescent Venerer in his own kit with C6. All of his abilities are AoE. He has crowd control on all of his abilities. His hold skill can be used for exploration, escaping enemy traps, and a plan B in certain death scenarios that you would normally have. He has incredible damage scaling on his skills as an Animo unit. Like 900%, that's still nuts. He has energy recharge as a passive stat, which is extremely useful no matter what character you're playing. And his kit mechanic causes 15 flat energy recharge for him and whatever elemental absorption that you do with anybody you have on the team. So for a team like this, for instance, with Chongyun and Diona, if it links with Cryo, you're basically going to get both of their bursts ready to go when they come back out on the field. And on top of that, you get the passive reduction of stamina. He's kitted extremely efficiently, and all of these things can benefit almost any party, which is really nice. So I hope that helps answer the question why he's so valuable, why, if the banner is returning in March, why you should plan to get him, because he is just an incredible unit and he's worth building. And for any players that have him currently, he's worth going past the C0 mark and trying to invest into him as a support unit. Based on the rumors that are going on about Venti's banner coming back in 1.4, which should be in just a few months, my best advice would be to wait until mid 1.3 until this information is confirmed, do an evaluation of your teams and what you need, and determine whether or not Venti is someone that is worth saving for given what you know about him and what you know about what you're trying to build with your teams. I do hope that this was helpful for you, and I just want to thank all of you for your support, and I will see you in the next one.